In this episode, some of the names have been changed. Nassau County, New York, on Long Island, is home to almost 1.5 million people. It's close enough to enjoy the benefits of New York City while maintaining a quiet, suburban lifestyle.
You can see, no water damage.
In the fall of 1999, a new resident made the final walkthrough of the house he was about to purchase. The solid, old structure had weathered more than 50 New York winters. Within its walls, a half-century of history had passed. Some stayed behind. Tucked in the crawl space, a 55-gallon drum sealed tight. According to the seller, it had always been there, too heavy to move. The homeowner assumed it was filled with construction debris. The buyer wanted it gone.
I tried to move it a couple of times. It's a heavy sucker.
That's gotta go. You can't stay there.
Together, they managed to move it to the curb. But the trash collector refused to take it. Its weight exceeded the limit. Hoping to divide the load, the owner attempted to pry off the lid. Rust had made it almost impossible. Finally, he managed to breach the seal. The stench was staggering and unmistakable. Inside was a withered hand. The owner rushed to call the police.
Nassau Police Emergency Operator 475.
He'd only caught a glimpse, but that was all he needed. Detectives Brian Parpan and Robert Edwards arrived, along with crime techs. The owner described the situation. Detective Parpan took it from there.
The first impression was an overwhelming odor when we opened the barrel. Inside the barrel, we could see a hand that certainly appeared to be human. The barrel itself and the information that we had initially at the scene, we thought we were looking at something probably about 18 to 20 years old.
Before the barrel was moved, Detective Parpan ordered it thoroughly photographed, inside and out. Detective Robert Edwards devised his strategy.
We closed the barrel up at that time and decided that we were going to take the whole package to the medical examiner's office where we could do a very in-depth investigation. You know, this is a little unusual. You come to somebody's house, a new owner is coming in to take over, and he looks in a crawl space and he finds a 55-gallon drum. We eventually find out that there's a body in it. Now we want to make sure there's nothing buried in the area around the house before we give it up.
When they could find no evidence of any other bodies around the house, the investigation shifted to the medical examiner's office.
We can put the others.
Investigators processed the contents of the barrel. Their most puzzling find, handfuls of granules or pellets.
I thought it was some kind
The detectives had no clue what they were made of or what they were used for.
pelletized plastic.
They tagged some to send to the lab. Next, green liquid.
Put this in the bag.
Again, its chemical composition and relevance remained a mystery. At least for now. Further digging put the homicide detectives into more familiar territory. A small purse emerged from the depths, its soaking wet contents practically disintegrating. Still, maybe it held a clue.
Can you get at it?
Yes.
And then, the victim. Mummified in the airless, waterlogged tomb. Hiding a secret for so many years. The body concealed more peculiar objects underneath.
We'll save them in there.
The single stem of a plastic flower,
Not sure what this is.
Plastic.
a locket with an inscription,
Can you see anything on
to Patrice from Uncle Phil, suggesting the victim was female. Some more liquid and some sediment,
Jewelry in here.
and among the sediment, 2 gold rings, one with the initials MHR inscribed inside.
For that, the jewelry could certainly be important. We have a name, Patrice. We have a second name, Uncle Phil. So this gives us some background that we can search and try to find out who we're dealing with, who the victim is.
But the most obvious clue was perhaps the barrel itself.
Right, look at this. There's just some kind of identification on the bottom of it. We didn't see it before because it hasn't been over. Perhaps you want to get a photograph of that?
Okay.
Upended, it revealed letters stenciled and embossed into it, and the fragment of a sticker or logo suggested it once served a more legitimate purpose. The authorities would follow up on it, but first, the victim had to be freed.
Removing the remains from the barrel, it was quite laborious. It took quite a long time. It was done very, very slowly. The material that was in the barrel, eventually we learned was to weight it down, was removed ladle by ladle. It was separated. It was put aside for our lab to be tested. And then actually removing the body was done very, very carefully so as not to cause any additional damage.